Welcome back to Belmont Bunch. We're talking about 2 consecutive losses to finish out a 7-game losing streak for us. So let's talk about it. Carolina, Saturday. I went to this game on Twitter. I called this the game of the year. If the Islanders didn't show up to this game, I was certain they would have no shot at making the playoffs. Justin Williams gets one early in this game. The Islanders come out a little flat-footed. What a surprise. Hayden Fleury, hard slap shot from the point off of the Islanders failing to get the puck out. Deflects off Justin Williams right in front of the net. Oh, what a surprise. The Islanders gave up another tip goal. Yeah, we know. So 1-0 there. But the Islanders would respond in the second period with a Ryan Pulock tally. Great pass from Anders Lee. Middle of the slot. He just throws it. I mean, he's alone in the slot. He just one-times it, top corner. Great. He's at 10 goals. He's on pace for like 15. Let's see where this goes the rest of the year. Noah Dobson. Noah Dobson in this game sets up the Islanders' second goal. Let's first talk about Carolina would regain the lead in the second, going up 2-1 after Pulock scores. Joel Edmondson is the one that puts Carolina ahead on a 3-on-2. The Islanders had been putting a lot of pressure on Carolina, and then Carolina breaks the other way, and the first thing you think is, we've had a lot of chances. We're going to get scored on. And guess what? You're right. You've been watching a lot of Islanders hockey. I'm proud of you. 3-on-2 down the ice. Barzal is trying to back check, but he can't quite get there. Edmondson is planted in front. It's like a mini 2-on-1 from like 5 feet in front of the net. And the shot on net, Andy Green does a good job of taking away the pass. So he forces the shot. But the shot hits Andy Green and goes through his legs, lands right on Joel Edmondson's stick with an empty net and just taps it in. Really bad puck luck. I do remember I was at the game. Hello? I was at the game and my first thought was, Thomas Greiss, what are you doing? Because he was just like sliding back and forth across his crease. And by the time he had slid all the way to the left, the puck was all the way to the right, and the guy just tapped it. And that's probably because of the bounce off Andy Green, but it just reminded me of how different our goalies look this year from last year. Even though we have the same goalie coach, Robin Lehner last year was very good in that situation. He probably would have been steady in his crease. Too much movement from Greiss, and maybe that's a lack of confidence, which has been showing for a little bit based on his getting pulled from every game in the first period. But anyway, the Islanders would tie it up in the third. Noah Dobson, great job, young man. He tries to wrap around. First of all, just the good bit of skating, retrieving the puck in the corner, getting around the net, beating the Carolina defenders, being able to try that wraparound, and it gets stopped, but it lands on Josh Bailey's stick, who slots it, ties the game at 2. Good effort from the Islanders in the third period of this game, lacking in the first 2. And in overtime, we had the controversial goal. I talked about it on Twitter a lot. I made some new friends. I made some new enemies, And I think the league's explanation for this counting is terrible, but the explanation of somebody that I encountered on Twitter made a little bit more sense, that being that, yes, it's a high stick, but hitting the crossbar, like, offsets, like, it like, wipes clean a potential high sticking call, and then Trocheck scores off it. The NHL's explanation was that it wasn't a high stick. My interpretation of this is the rule says the normal height of the shoulders, and for me, who's the one on the puck on this that hits it? It is Svechnikov, who's a big dude, and he reaches really high up in the air. The initial point of contact to me looks like, so it's equal to maybe the very top of his shoulder, but the rule being natural position, it's not a natural position because he's got both his shoulders up.
He walks around with his shoulders shrugged all the time. That's his natural position.
And I do appreciate the memes that came out of it where his head's in the middle of his chest and his shoulders are still up. And one of the Carolina fans that was just like, he's a big boy. I'm like, you know what? Fair enough. It was actually pretty fun. Some of the Carolina fans talking to them. Others, they were just like, cry. And it was like the salt emoji. And I'm like, I am literally just asking a question. And then, but some Carolina fans were like, hey, it's a fair question, Once again, terrible power play work from the Islanders. It is awful. Maybe it'll get better at some point this year.
Terrible power. What? I don't believe it.
And the penalty kill consistently has been pretty good, even though gave up 2 this week, but committed a lot of penalties in this game, so fairly decent. Moving over to the Vancouver game, also known as the 7th straight loss.
Coronavirus.
Okay, so the Vancouver game, now also known as the last game of hockey ever. So the Islanders complete their 7th straight loss. But they do get 4 points out of the 7 losses, so who really won? Not us. Andrew Ladd gets the first in this one. The Islanders, right off it, they looked like a different team. Third period of this game looked okay. First 2, very lackadaisical. Shots lacking. This game, as you can tell by the shots, first of all, and then also by the amount of goals, they really looked engaged, and they looked like they were going to turn a corner, and that is very sad now, given the current conditions. But Andrew Ladd tips one in early on off a Josh Bailey slap shot. That is the weirdest sentence of this year. Even weirder than me randomly mispronouncing words and then copying it over. So we score from Andrew Ladd, and 21 seconds later, we give up a goal because that is the Islander way. And then only a few minutes after that, Tyler Toffoli, potential Islander trade target turned not Islander, scores to make it 2-1. So it's 2-1 Vancouver after 1. Jordan Eberle in the second gets us going, ties the game off a wonderful bit of skating from Matt Barzal, who was a madman in this game and will have a great rest of the season. Anyway, great bit of skill to bob and weave near his own, near the blue line, and then even though I'm pretty sure he's aiming a pass cross ice, he screws up the pass, but it ends up right on the stick of Eberle, who's 2 feet from goal, and then he backhands it in. So sometimes good things come. That's it. That's all I had, and not to those who want. Just sometimes good things happen. I know that's very off-brand for this channel, me talking about positive stuff. But let's get back to the game. Brock Nelson would score later in this period on a very soft backhander to tie the game at 3. I almost said Markstrom. Thatcher Demko. So the Islanders lose to a goalie named Thatcher. Good job. Thatcher Demko had a really good game. I mean, look at the shots to the goals. But gives up a little bit of a soft one here. Brock Nelson, very effortlessly puts the puck on his backhand and just puts it on goal, and it goes in. And you're like, all right, the Islanders were due for that. So that would tie the game at 3 at that point after McCune scores to put Vancouver up. Islanders have led for 21 seconds of the game at this point. And they would fall down again in the third, 4-3. We'd get Brock Nelson again just after the power play ended, so it doesn't go towards that pitiful power play. Damn it. The puck kind of bounces to him off a save, off a slap shot, and he just slaps it in. And we're going to OT, and a lot of chances for both sides in overtime. A lot of chances in the third period for both teams. In the shootout, which could be the last bit of Islanders hockey for this year, the most depressing thing happens, which is we didn't score a single shot. Second of all, Varlamov gave up kind of an iffy shootout goal to Besser. And third of all, the Islanders' last shootout taker of the year could potentially be Andrew Ladd. Andrew Ladd, who scored his first goal of the year in this game off of an accidental tip, is tasked with keeping the Islanders alive in a game that has playoff implications. Barry, buddy, friend, pal, what are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? Brock Nelson. You have Brock Nelson. He has 2 goals in this game, and you don't use him? Excuse me? Jordan Eberle starts off the shootout, gets stopped. Matt Barzal, really good stop by Thatcher Demko on him. You need a goal to keep the game going. And you're like, Andrew Ladd. I'm sorry. I don't care if his numbers in the shootout historically are not that bad and I'm turning into Trump. But, I mean, the guy has 1 goal this year, has been in the AHL 90% of the year. And you have a guy who has 2 goals in this game, and you don't use that guy. Explain. He missed Andrew Ladd on a shootout attempt, missed the goal by like 5 feet. Thatcher Demko went stack the pads. Didn't have to. Puck's 5 feet wide of the net. It probably hit the glass right in front of the hockey guy who was at the game live. Shout out, hockey guy. Love you. Don't know what that was. But anyway, yeah, just flexing every once in a while. Not that I have an itch on my back. Yeah, so the Islanders lose the final game of NHL hockey ever. So that's a shame. Let us know in the comments, what are you planning to do for your apocalypse? And now on to the 3 stars of the season? Let's do this in dramatic order, because for the first time, I think all year, we're going to do a specific order. 1 is the best of the season, and, you know, descending. So we're going to be going in descending order. 3rd star of the year. I think this is somebody that kind of, he has been so good under, now I almost said Trump, because he has been so good under Trotz. It's close, so you can see. He's been so good under Trotz, and Trotz has only been the coach while Trump's been the president.
Oh my God.
So, 3rd, we're going to go with Brock Nelson, who's been one of the more consistent Islanders, and that was almost written the way that Trump writes coronavirus, where he does the capital in the middle, and it's 1 word, though. Number 2, the number 2 star of the New York Islanders season. Yeah, Semyon Varlamov, and this kind of like shows my lack of enthusiasm for the season as a whole, based on not really being a good team over the last 4 months. Varlamov, my brother and I talked about, he doesn't make a ton of really big saves, but he makes most of the ones that he should. Now, I know that sounds like he's just bad, based on the fact that I said he doesn't make any big ones and he only makes some of the smaller saves. But that's not true. His stats for the year are above average. I would say he is a good goalie. There are great goalies, there are elite goalies, there are good goalies. And he's very comfortably in the 10 to 15 range of, I'm good. But he had some games where he basically won his points. He had a game against Vegas where he played one of the best games I've ever seen an Islander goalie play.
Alternate pronunciation, Semyon Varlamov.
Yeah. Thanks, Brendan.
Yeah.
And, yeah, we know the player of the year. Yeah.
His name?
Matt Barzal. No, he has 1 T.
Okay.
1 T, like a one-timer.
Oh, man.
I need something in my life. Matt Barzal, with a EM, played very well this year. He went through, like every Islander, went through stretches where he kind of struggled, more so with like penalties. In the Carolina game, he commits the penalty that eventually, basically, we lost the game because of. And in the Vancouver game, committed another kind of key penalty that led to a Vancouver goal. And that stuff, hope to see out of his game soon. Guy's only 22. He's going to be 23 in May, I think. I don't stalk him. But Barzal, he's still one of the more dynamic players in the league. If you look at just like his raw skating skill, he creates a lot of chances. His point totals would be a lot higher in a non-Trotz system, though I don't want that to be the case ever, because that would mean he's gone or Trotz is gone. And I don't want that. And so, yeah, he is going to be a free agent this summer, and I think it's of paramount importance to this franchise to not allow a second consecutive gigantic star free agent to leave. That would be pretty bad. Yeah. So yeah, let's go to the sin bin of the year. This is something that I really haven't been looking forward to, because I even though in the videos it doesn't always seem like it, I like to look at the best in each player, and that is why it hurts to give the sin bin of the year. Maybe a little bit surprising. I'm going to say off the bat, not Michael Dow Cole. It's not Michael Dow Cole. As the year went on, I think you just have to know that the expectations for him are that he's a bottom 6 forward. And that's okay. It hurts because he was a 5th overall pick, and it sucks that you only got a bottom 6 forward out of that. But when you adjust your expectations to, is this guy passing the eye test? Are his defensive numbers good? And they're okay. They're fine. So this hurts. This hurts, especially because, I don't think you can pin the failures of the second half of the season on one player. And I'm not going to pin this on Thomas Greiss. He really looked awful in the second half. It's really tough, but he really struggled in a stretch where they really needed him, and it forced Varlamov into a situation of having to start 8-9 games in a row, and so he put his team in a bad spot, and it sucks because if this is the end of the season, he will probably never play another game for the Islanders again. And he's been a serviceable guy for us. He stole us the Florida series. He played exceptionally well in replacement of Halak during that 15-16 season where Halak went down late and Greiss put the team on his back and was phenomenal in the playoffs. And he's just been very steady. He had a really bad year, 17-18. Bounces back last year with like a .925 save percentage, and shared the Masterton Trophy with Robin Lehner. So it's tough. Sorry, not the Masterton, the Jennings. Leonard got the Masterton. They share the Jennings for least goals allowed as a tandem. That is the season. We will do a season in review, I think, at some point soon. Look for that soon. Like, subscribe, watch for the new stuff, and see you soon. Stay healthy.